to discuss with you this morning some aspects of time management, but before I start, I would like to ask if anybody here in this room thinks that he's not good in time management. Like whatever you do, you just can't manage time. Okay, that's a bunch of people. And I can tell you you're right. You can't manage time. I'm probably thinking like what we start talking about. We are talking about time management this morning. Well, time management. The phrase vigorously used by CEOs, managers, coaches of all kinds, but what does it really mean? And to start on that discussion, I would first like to ask you to do something for me. Can you define time? What is time? Come on guys, it's a room full of scientists, come on. What is time? Anybody? Oh, come on guys, give it a guess.
Well, it's change of something. If nothing changes, no time moves. Decay or chaos from one state to another. You can define it as, I don't know, the decay of some atom, which we have right now.
Okay. Any other else opinion? Well, it's an interesting discussion, an interesting question. People don't really think about it. So when you ask people what is time, usually they don't come up with a common answer. There's always a discussion when I give this speech, and they always say after some time, it's the thing that clocks measure. But it's not completely true. Now, if you look at it from the scientific aspect, time is defined as an indefinite continued progress of existence and events that occur in apparently irreversible succession from the past through the present to the future. And what it basically means, you cannot change that flow. 1 minute is only 60 seconds, 1 hour is only 60 minutes, 1 day is 24 hours. But what you actually can do is manage the course of actions that you can do during that 24 hours. So when we are talking about time management, we're actually talking about self-management. And I'd like to show you another definition, which you probably all heard of. It's been coined by one of our fellow college scientists, Benjamin Franklin, for the first time. And I don't fully agree with this, because you cannot buy everything with money. You can get everything in your life by investing. Investing money in your finances, investing affection, emotions in the relationships with other people. So you can also consider time as an investment. But we'll get back to that later. First, I would like to go briefly with you through the time management history. What do you think? When people really started caring about time management? When they started thinking about the profession? Any guess? That's
the moment they start selling that time by being worked for.
Do you know any period of the history that you would suggest?
That would be the industrial age, but probably even earlier.
Exactly. So the first time they started thinking about it, putting it on paper, was the Industrial Revolution, because then the whole production system was acquired. And the first thing that came up with is the concept of efficiency. So what it basically thought is, if our workers can do as much things in the same time as possible and as fast as possible, they will get higher output. But after some time, they just realized that this is not such a good idea. Simply because after some time, they will get tired and fatigued. And then they will start making costly mistakes. So this approach today is more or less completely abandoned, except in some sweatshops and similar operations, but still it's on a strong basis.
Well, wherever Apple produces something.
Exactly. So next thing is the time management grid. So for this approach, it was considered for the first time to be coined by US President Dwight Eisenhower, but however, the first person who actually put it on paper as a consideration was Dr. Stephen Covey. And that's what is called the Covey's matrix. And as you can see here in this matrix, there are two dimensions, urgency and importance. And that create 4 quadrants. So if something is urgent and important, those are the tasks driven by the deadlines. For example, if you have to renew your visa or the residence permit, that are things that you do first. Then you have things that are not urgent and important. That's long-term strategizing and development tasks. For example, learning a new language, a new software. Things that are not important but urgent. Pressurized distractions. So what they basically mean, those are the stuff that are not important for you, but somebody else pressurizes you to do it. And finally, not urgent and not important activities that yield little or no value at all. For example, pointless internet browsing just to pass time because you gain nothing. And if you plot it like this, so you have 2 dimensions, and you can plot all the tasks here, and you will first start working on your tasks that are at the top, and then go down the line. And since you're on a scientific conference and it's morning, I guess currently now coffee, sugar, and break is already on the top. And what is basically a flaw of this approach is that you basically just rearrange the tasks that you do during the day, but you're not actually managing to do more tasks during the day. And a few years ago, Roddy Baden came up with a new approach, which is called time multiplying. And he defined it as giving yourself an emotional permission to do things today that will provide you more time tomorrow. And to illustrate that approach, he created something that is called the focus funnel. And every time you have tasks, you have to put them through this funnel. So first thing is the priority dilution phase. So you have a task, you first try to eliminate it. People very often say yes to many things simply because they have a thought they will feel guilty after. Don't be a yes man. Don't say yes to everything. It's your life and your time. Say yes only to things that matter. Because every time you say yes to something, you're saying countless number of no's in the same time. So be careful of the direction of your yes. If you can already not eliminate it, try to automate it. And many of you do it already on a daily basis. If you're making some calculations on a daily basis, you create an Excel or a MATLAB file to do it faster next time. So initially you spend more time creating that piece of code, but later on a daily basis, the code does the things for you. So you have more time to do other things. If you already cannot automate it, try to delegate it. Now, if you're already in a managing position, it's very easy to delegate because you have the human resources structure below you. But you have to be careful not to put too much load on them, simply because at some point they will get fatigued and you'll impact their emotional status. So you will not be perceived as a leader, but as a dictator. And that's something that you for sure want to avoid. And the second thing, if you are not on a managing position, you have your network, you have your friends, you have your partners. Ask them to help you with these tasks, but be prepared to do the same when they ask you. And finally, if you cannot do anything of those things, you have to concentrate. And then you have to make a decision. Are you going to do that task now, in which case you should concentrate on it and finish it as soon as possible with less distractions as possible? Or you can procrastinate on purpose. And what that means is that you will delay that task, and once you come back to it, you will put it back again through the funnel. In the meantime, you have maybe found a reason to eliminate it, find a way to automate it, or find somebody who can help you and delegate it. And what this basically adds is a third dimension, which is significance. So you're making decisions how something is urgent, important, and significant on a long term. What significance it has for your life on a long term. What's missing? While working with some people in consultancy with time management, I found that something is missing because it's easy to read all of these instructions and try to implement them, but it's very often that you meet all those people that I mentioned before that are throwing time management all around the space, which is CEOs, lawyers, and big managers, coaches. But it's very often to see that while their professional lives are extremely successful, their private lives tend to be in ruins. And in fact, so much that Harvard and Stanford did a scientific paper called The Impact of CEO Divorce on Shareholders. divorce rates are immense. And I found that working with these people, I saw it closely, and trust me, it's going to get much worse than it sounds. But that's because they are missing one dimension by taking these calculations of time, and that's passion. And what I did with them, I created something that is called time investment. And before I explain it, I would like to ask you, how many of you do their monthly balance sheets, tracking where you spend your money? But I'm not thinking just having income and costs and then subtracting to see are you plus or minus, but detailed sheet. Where do you spend your money? Okay, that's a surprisingly low number. I would please urge you all to do that on a monthly basis. Create a sheet, create categories that are important, but for you, for example, necessities, other costs, fixed costs, and group the costs that you make during the day within those groups. And then at the end of the month, you calculate how much money you spent on each category, and you can optimize for the next month. It will help you spend the money on the things that you enjoy. Doing activities and spending money on activities on the actions that you enjoy is not wasting money. That's why all the categories have to be personal, yours. And I believe we can do the same thing with time. We can invest time in different actions. So please, buy an agenda. Carry it with you 1 week. Write inside every hour, you have hours, everything written there. Write inside the course of your actions during the day. And after the end of the week, transform it into an Excel sheet. And then divide it into 3 categories. First category is the things that you are passionate about doing, that you enjoy. Second thing are things that you find obligatory, but obligatory for you, that you had to finish over the course of that week. And finally, the third one, lost. So mark the action which you think you wasted your time on, that you have produced it better. I'll give you one example. 1 year ago, I was, until the April, I was living in Lisbon. Most of you who live in Lisbon know it's a pleasant experience, and I would recommend to everybody else to try it at least once over the lifetime.
Not now, because it's very crowded.
So, basically, the thing is that after some time in Lisbon, I managed to organize my time to my preference for what I thought it fulfills me. So basically, the daily schedule was basically going to work, going to gym after, hanging out with friends or catching a movie, preparing the meals for the next day because I prepare all my meals for the day after, playing the guitar, practicing on the weekends, going on a field trip. Sometimes I was also caught in the trap of browsing, just searching for some things that I could find more easier. And once I put it through the list, I had 83% my time spent on the things that I'm passionate about, and very low percentage of time wasted, which was later corrected. However, you have to notice, in order to reach 80%, you have to be passionate about your work and your career. If you're not, it's time to change it. However, since the nature of my work, I have multiple institutions. I have to move to Paris. And in the first week in Paris, I tried to keep the schedule, tried to reach the same percentage. But at the end of the week, when I calculated my time, you can see that the red field significantly increased because my research center is outside of Paris. I had to spend a lot of time traveling in crowded trains. And then I realized that I was wasting a lot of time. So my percentage dropped on 64. And if I was not giving so much effort to organize it, it would be even lower. So you can see that time on traveling, a lot of time on traveling, on paper, of course, the view of France. And in the day it was longer, I had to get up earlier, but the amount of things that are different that I was able to do during the day was not so big. So I have to reorganize. So I reanalyzed it and reached the 80% again, which is a minimum. You have to reach at least 80%. Everything below 60 to 80% is okay, but 80% is really good. You have to devote time to organize it. So basically I changed my traveling. I got used to the crowded trains. Sometimes I was so crowded that I could not read, but I bought audiobooks. I was listening to audiobooks about guitar, about business, about management, and so on. So I was still improving on a long-term basis without time being wasted. But giving this kind of lessons and instructions how to manage time to others is easy. The problem comes when trying to implement it for other people, because we are all different and we all have different preferences. So working with people on time management, I found some aspects that are crucial in order to make the incorporation of these measures. And first one is you have to visualize. Please plot the graphs that I showed you. Nothing says time wasted as a big red chunk on a pie chart. Let it sink into your mind. It will help you be more self-aware and disciplined. Plot it. Trust me. Sometimes when I'm working with clients, only when they plot it, they're like, oh my God, I spent 30% of my week stuck in a traffic by a car. I'm going to take a train next time. And so on. Second thing, you can't be selfish. Don't make your plan and expect that everybody else tries to fit into it. That's a very common mistake. Remember what we said about delegating. When your friends or partners need you to delegate a task to you, curb your schedule to help them. And they will do the same for you. If, however, your friends or partner are not willing to do that, or on the other hand, you're not feeling motivated enough to do the same for them, jump out of those relationships. Life is too short for bad relationships. Remember, when you are saying yes to something or someone, you're saying countless number of no's in the same time. Make sure the yes is in the right direction. Grab your guts and jump out of those relationships. Jump out of the depression plane before it hits the ground. And even if you are thinking that you're jumping without a parachute, jump. Somebody will catch you in the air before you hit the ground. I can trust me on that, I promise you. You have to be self-aware. You have to know where your passion lies. You need some time to dedicate to yourself and to find your true nature. For example, I was working with one client and he was impressed with my gym attendance and he told me, okay, we need to create a schedule. I want to go to the gym 5 times per week. I want to be fit and healthy. I said, okay. We created a program for him. We created a time schedule, but even a nutritional program, but after 3 weeks, there was no results. I started wondering why. With a long list of conversations, and then I actually realized that he is not passionate about working in the gym. He wants to be healthy and fit, but for him, it was a status statement. I go to gym 5 times per week. And of course, the result was not achieved. So after some discussions, we found that when he was younger, he enjoyed playing volleyball, so we changed the gym for the volleyball. And after some time, after 3 weeks, you could already see results. He was feeling better, and he was getting slowly more fit. Which basically means the same goal can be achieved by going different paths. Make sure that you choose your own path, the one that you are passionate about. Don't allow yourself to be impressed by other people's preferences or how they fit into the popular culture. You don't care about that. Here it's about you. You have to be childish. Picasso once said, it took me 4 years to learn how to paint like Raphael, and a lifetime to learn to paint like a child. When we get into serious positions, we all tend to be serious. We have to pretend that everything is serious. And what we lose there is basically we forget to enjoy small things on a daily basis. When I was working with these people and looking at their schedule, I was like, did you enjoy this or this or this? They're saying no. It happens every day in my life. But we forget to think like kids. Enjoy the moment. Find the small things that happen that occur every day, that every day brings, and enjoy them. What it will boost your mood, and you'll feel less stressed by trying to achieve your time schedule. And you have to experiment. You have to reinvent your free time on at least weekly or monthly basis, because that will make you appreciate it more. And it will give you more motivation to create more efficient time schedule. Take it like this. Ask yourself in front of the mirror, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And if you need more than 10 seconds to remember, well, you're doing something wrong. You need to reinvent your time. This will boost your creativity too, and also help you be more disciplined. And finally, try to stay fit as much as possible, because none of the schedule that you create will work unless you have enough energy to go through it. Find something that you like and exercise. Try to keep a healthy diet as much as possible. Allow yourself excursions in junk food, in alcohol, it's okay. But don't do it, don't overdo it. So use it as a wall, just not as a habit. And finally, after some discussions with Christine yesterday, we suggested that I try to present what I found with working with clients, what I find as a really good treat for a consultant. Is there anybody here who was considering working for the Big Three after the PhD, for the McKinsey, Boston Consultancy, and something like that? Anybody consulting a business career? Okay, there are a few. Why do you think